So, one of the most important applications of derivatives is to find maxima and minima of functions. Derivatives, they measure how fast a function is changing. So, for example, if you were to throw a ball vertically up into the air, what would its velocity be when it reaches the highest point in its trajectory? Well, at that point, is the ball going up? No, nor has it started going down either. So, its velocity would be 0. Now, remember, velocity is the derivative of position. And so, what we are seeing is that when the position is at its maximum, then the velocity is 0. Similarly, suppose you have a car and it has just attained its maximum velocity during a trip, then what would its acceleration be at that time? Would its speed be increasing? No, it couldn't, because at that time it has achieved its maximum speed. And could its speed be decreasing at that point? No, it couldn't, because it is at its maximum speed. If its speed were decreasing at this time, just before that time it would have been going even faster. So, this is the intuitive idea behind the fact that derivatives capture maxima and also minima of functions. So, but they only capture them in a sense locally. So, what do I mean by locally? Let me define a local maximum. So, for this we have f, a real valued function on a subset I of R defined in a neighborhood of a point A. Then we say that A is a local maximum. So, local is as if you do not look very far, say you are really short sighted and you can only see what is happening close to you. So, so you do not see what happens somewhere far away from where you are. So, what you do is you restrict yourself to a small interval around the point A. So, what you say is if you are short sighted enough, you think it is a maximum, but how short sighted you need to be, well, we do not know, but you just have to be short sighted enough. So, what the way we say that is if there exists epsilon greater than 0. So, the smaller this epsilon is, the more short sighted you are, and so you can, as long as you are short sighted enough, you will think you are at a maximum, such that for all points that are at distance epsilon from A or less, such that for all x in I such that x minus A is less than epsilon, you have f of x is less than or equal to f of A. If you draw the graph of a function, so let me just show you an example here. So, let us look at this function which has this graph. So, there are two local maxima here, this point here and this point here are both showing us local maxima for this function. And this first point is not a maximum for the function, it becomes larger, for example, at the second point here. So, a local maximum need not be a maximum, but this is all that derivatives can actually capture. So, the theorem in this regard is the following. Theorem, suppose f from I to R is, well, differentiable at a point A in I. In particular, this assumes that I contains a neighborhood of A, otherwise we can't talk about differentiability. Then if A is a local maximum of f, then the derivative of f at A has to be 0. The proof sort of puts into practice the intuition that I tried to give you earlier, that it cannot, the derivative cannot be positive, the derivative cannot be negative, and so it has to be 0. Since A is a local maximum for f, I can choose epsilon greater than 0 such that for all x in I such that absolute value of x minus a is less than epsilon, f of a is greater than or equal to f of x. So, now let us try to compute the difference quotient whose limit we take to compute the derivative. So, that is f of a plus h minus f of a divided by h. So, if we take h between 0 and epsilon, then a plus h lies between a and a plus epsilon, and because in this region f is the largest value that f of a is the largest value that f takes, the numerator of this quotient is negative, because f of a is larger, f of a plus h is smaller. So, this is negative, the denominator is positive. So, this is less than or equal to 0. On the other hand, if h is in fact negative and say greater than minus epsilon, then what we have is f of a plus h. Again, the numerator is negative, but in this case the denominator is also negative. So, this has to be greater than or equal to 0, and this is true for every h in this region. So, this implies that the derivative of f, which is the limit, has to be less than or equal to 0, whereas this implies that the derivative of f at a has to be greater than or equal to 0. And so, we are left with no alternative but to conclude that f prime of a is equal to 0.